Welcome to Chapter by Chapter, for your journey through the greatest book given to the human race, the Word of God. It's the Bible. And we get to go through it chapter by chapter, 7 minutes a day and 7 days a week. Join us each day and share it with others so they can join this journey that will be life-changing. We'll stop at unexpected places on the journey and be challenged. Some verses will even create awe and wonder, and we'll have chapters that will be instructive, and in others we'll find joy and comfort. We will occasionally be convicted and want to change, but all in all, the journey is going to be worth it. Once in a while, we may even take a detour on the journey and hear from some of God's servants on their favorite passages from a chapter and let them give you their insight. Every journey needs a small detour occasionally. The best way to get the most from this podcast is read the chapter we're discussing before or after. It's His word that transforms. You will find more and see more than I can ever articulate. Welcome to Chapter by Chapter, and today's chapter is Genesis 11. I read an article recently entitled, "Where are the happiest kids?" Where do the happiest kids in the world live? A study released in 2012 titled The New Definition of Childhood, produced by an agency headquartered in Chicago, found that the happiest kids in the world live in Mexico. Despite its many social ills and widespread poverty, the study asked 4,000 children ages 6 to 12 in 12 countries what it's like to grow up today. According to the first ever Global Kids Happiness Index, kids in Mexico were the happiest in the world, followed by Spain, Brazil, and Germany. American kids scored fifth. Across almost all the countries, the most important source of happiness for kids was a close family and friends. The solution to nearly all of our social ills always seems to come back to relationships with the most important people in our life. In Genesis 11, I can tell you for sure that the ancient city of Ur was not on that list. Childhood was tough, and especially for one of the most iconic figures in all the Bible. His family and friend network was going to be shaken. What a tough childhood for a young man that would be greatly used by God. The young man's name is Abram, who will soon be called Abraham. He will be the iconic figure of the Old Testament, the father of the faith, the charter member of the Jewish people. I never thought of Abraham's childhood until I read Genesis 11. It's full of tragedy. His story is here at the end of Genesis 11, 27 through 32. Now these are the records of the generations of Terah. Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran became the father of Lot. Haran died in the presence of his father Terah and in the land of his birth in Ur of the Chaldeans. Abram and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. The name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Sarai was barren and she had no child. Terah took Abram, his son, Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son, Abram's wife, and they went out together from the Ur of the Chaldeans in order to enter the land of Canaan. And they went as far as Haran and settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Just stop and think about all that Abram faces before he starts his journey of faith. His brother dies right before the father's eyes. And this untimely death left a young man behind that needed to be taken care of. His father takes his grandson and raises him as his own. What's interesting is the surviving brothers each have a wife, but not for the brother that passes. No wife is even mentioned. It may be that this boy is out of wedlock. Just a thought. It's odd that brothers and their wives are mentioned, but not for the deceased. The father doesn't take the boy and the mother, but only the mention of the orphan boy. Then Abram finds out that his wife is barren. That is such a blemish on a woman and a stigma to carry into the community. And then the father moves the family out of the homeland of Ur. Terah the father, Abram and his barren wife, Lot the orphan, and they move to a new place called Haran. They're planning on going to Canaan and don't even make it. Seems like a crushed dream. All your tickets say Canaan and you end up in Haran. Then after uprooting the family, your father dies in the new place, leaving them no support structure to help them get through grief. It's no stretch to say that it was a rocky start for one of God's chosen vessels. And according to the Global Children Happiness Study, both the family and the friend criteria got severely damaged. I heard it said, as God is not committed to my happiness, but to my holiness. If this adage is true, it really is true in Abram's life. What is happening when these kind of things are happening? All I can see is when you see a rough childhood, keep an eye on that child. God is not far. God is developing and maturing faster than even a normal child. He's got plans for that child. In a rural city called Northfield, Massachusetts, his life was marked by hardship and poverty. His father died when he was only 4, leaving his mother with 9 children to raise. They were in massive debt, no means to pay it. The young man had to leave school at 5th grade to work on a farm to help contribute. This young man would never finish school, attend college, and his lack of education would be evident every time he opened up his mouth. He left home 7 years later at age 17 to work in his uncle's Boston shoe store. Like Abram, this young man lost his family and friends just to survive. Once again, God was doing something in this young man. The uneducated, tragic life of D.L. Moody would be considered one of the greatest American evangelists started out like Abram. No one would have thought that he would be speaking to a lot of people. Sources from the Christian History Institute, Christianity Today, and the C.S. Lewis Institute confirm that Moody presented his message to an estimated 100 million people by voice or pen. It was said that he could not speak or write without massive grammatical errors. How does this happen? God usually has a massive plan for those who have faced massive disappointment in their upbringing. Just an encouragement to young people today. Think for a moment of the absentee father, the struggling single mom, the financial woes and debt, the disappointments on every level from where you live to what you had to face. And could you just take a moment and say something different than you've been saying? Instead of asking questions like, why me? Why did this happen to me? How about we make faith statements like this? Okay, God, I got precedents. I got Moody, I got Abraham, and a bunch of others with childhood disappointments. You must be up to something. When you put us in life's classroom that young, you got something massive on the other side. I can't wait to see what you're up to. Turn your questions into faith statements. Thank you for joining Chapter by Chapter. Every chapter from the greatest book, the Bible, the Word of God. 7 minutes a day, 7 days a week. We'll see you tomorrow.